Hey everybody, on my way to the range. Today with me, I'm going to be bringing my Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 Shield 4-inch. And I'm going to be shooting that, put several hundred rounds through it today, see what goes on, what my impressions are going to be. I don't know at this point. I'm assuming it's going to shoot just fine. Over the years that I've had handguns, I don't really have the tendency to shoot single stack small guns very well. That's something that I have to say I just have never really done well with. So I'm going to be interested to see how well I do today. I'm also bringing with me my Glock 48, and I'm going to compare those. So in a future video, you will see the comparison between the 48 and the Shield 2.0 4-inch. I will tell you right off the bat right now, they are so close to each other in regards to size and feel that it's going to be hard to determine which one is a better handgun. Obviously, the Glock 48 has a little bit more to offer since it does carry 10 rounds, and the Shield is relegated to 8 rounds in the large mag and 7 rounds in its standard magazine. So, can't wait to shoot this gun today. Can't wait to see what they do side by side. So, hopefully, you guys stick around and watch the rest of the video.
So, as you see, we are shooting this gun. Now, what are my first initial impressions on shooting this gun? Well, to be honest with you, like any other gun that I normally start off with that's brand new, the groups obviously need a little work when you bring the target back. Now, what are my impressions when I was shooting this gun? First off, the grip texturing on this gun makes it a very enjoyable and very easy to grab onto type of pistol. I think a lot of times when we look at guns today, you can see that a lot of the texturing is getting more aggressive, and rightfully it should be, because you want to make sure you got a good purchase. As you can see in that picture right there, most of these shots went to the middle, obviously some strays, which is never a good thing. Now, in regards to the overall impression of recoil, well, I have to say there's very little recoil on this handgun. I mean, the gun shot very, very flat. And to be honest with you, I have to say that it probably has something to do with the dust cover, or the extended slide, obviously with the weight, and more importantly, that long guide rod they put in there. You know, that's something that may be overlooked, but in some of the other competitors out there, you're getting that short guide rod and spring system. In this case, it's a full size, which I think makes a big difference as well. Again, as these targets get pulled out, you can see even more strays. So again, like I said, I'm not looking for marksman perfection here. These are basically the first 25-ish, 35-ish rounds that went through the handgun. So there's always going to be that slight learning curve at the beginning. Again, I make no excuses for how I shoot. It is what it is. My job is to basically go into these ranges and try to put as many holes in a paper as I possibly can, and try to get them as centered as possible. You know, my goal is to try not to have any flyers that are with really just outwardly ridiculous. And for example, as I pull this target back, you can see that one down at the bottom. I think actually 2. Those are very, very ridiculous in my opinion. Now, obviously, as you start to kind of get more comfortable, again, my biggest complaint on this handgun while shooting it was that stupid hinge trigger. I absolutely cannot say enough how much I hate the hinge on this trigger. One of the things that I noticed when I was shooting it was the fact that my finger was literally slipping down to the bottom of the trigger. I don't know why that was, but for me, that's a huge no-no. Again, I've already changed out the trigger because it's just what I'm going to do. This grouping here is getting a little bit tighter and a little bit more centered. And as you can see here, this is going to be my first silhouette target. And what I'm going to do is be shooting for headshots only. I am using the 8-round magazine and the 7-round magazine just to see what I can do with them. It was kind of interesting because I didn't really feel a significant difference between the two. Obviously, in the smaller shields, when you have that flat base plate on there, it does get a little bit snappier, which is a little bit more controllable when you have the longer grip extension on there. Now, for me, I didn't really feel that this time. I actually felt very confident with both sized magazines. So if you're concerned about getting a full grip or getting a little bit less controllability, so to speak, on that shortened grip, I don't really think you have to worry about that. The gun was extremely controllable, like I said before. And ultimately, I think Smith & Wesson did a great job with this handgun. And as this target gets pulled back to us right now, what you're going to see is those headshots. There's a couple of low, but for the most part, I'm pretty happy with those shots that you see. So what are my final thoughts about the Shield 2.0 long slide? Well, I have to tell you guys, I am a believer. I have had nothing but good experiences with Smith & Wesson pistols. My M&P 2.0 compact is one of my favorites. I've owned several Shields in the past. This one to me is probably the best that they've made. Now, in regards to just the overall functionality of the gun performed very well. There was very little recoil in this gun. Obviously, I think that has to do with the longer slide. You do have this very thick, at least it feels very thick, a very thick steel extension here. Plus, you also have the full-length guide rod that goes all the way to the front. And in my opinion, that makes a little bit of a difference, especially when it comes to that felt recoil. Again, you also have the option of taking basically your 8-round magazine. You can convert it over to your 7-round magazine, and now you have a very concealable, short gripped handgun with the maximum, I guess you could say, slide in a gun of this format. You know, you don't see too many single stacks that have this full 4-inch slide, but yet still maintain, in my opinion, ultimate concealability. Some might say, well, the Glock 48 does that, but again, the Glock 48 has the extended grip, which is very similar to this right here. Obviously, some people are going to say, well, what about the SIG P365? But again, you're getting rid of this muzzle velocity and the muzzle length for a shorter, smaller gun. Now, of course, people are going to ask, well, why would you buy this gun? Like, why buy a Smith & Wesson Shield 2.0 when there's other guns out there that actually have more rounds? I've already mentioned the Glock 48, 10 rounds. The Smith & Wesson, or excuse me, the SIG P365 can come with 10 rounds, or I believe it's 12 rounds with the extended magazine. So what makes this gun any better? And again, keep in mind, SIG is going to be coming out with their extended slide version of that P365. Ultimately, I can't tell you why you should get this gun. All I can say is that after shooting this gun, I am very, very happy, very, very pleased that I picked this up. This is going to be a keeper, and the reason why is because it's an extremely easy gun to shoot. The management of recoil is very minimal at best, and in my opinion, just to be able to have that ability to get a good grip on full-size magazine, and really, to be honest with you, a good grip on the short magazine, to me, it really, in my opinion, makes it a more shootable handgun, is what I'm trying to say. And what I mean by that is that when I go to grab my gun in an emergency situation, I don't want to have, you know, a 2-finger grip on here. You know, that's just me. I would like to get maximum grip, maximum pressure on this gun, so that if I have to if I have to go out and make some shots that are going to count and are life and death shots, I want to be able to make sure that I can control what it is that I'm shooting. Again, I've already switched out the trigger shoe. You can see here that I've actually put in the Apex trigger. I've actually put in the whole kit with the new plunger and everything. And what I did, guys, basically is basically shorten the take up just a little bit more with a very nice crisp wall. And then, of course, you've got your shortened take up with that same break. Now, the big advantage to this for me is going to be the shoe. I don't have to worry about the hinge in the middle here. I don't have to worry about anything else. The safety recesses perfectly inside the shoe. So, I mean, for me, ultimately, this Shield is exactly what I was looking for. I love the shootability of this handgun. I love the feel of this gun in my hand. And honestly, if you were in the market for a single stack for $460, maybe even cheaper than that, you can't beat it. Now, obviously, there's other options out there, but again, you're going to pay a lot more money, and sure, they may have a couple of more bells and whistles, but at the end of the day, you can't ever go wrong with a Smith & Wesson Shield, and I know many of you probably feel that way. So again, tell me what you think. Do you think the Smith & Wesson Shield with the long slide is going to be worth your time? Maybe is it going to be kind of a gun that goes by, especially with some of the new offerings out there? Love to hear what you have to say. And one other question I have actually is for those of you guys out there that have these shields, what have you done to increase the capacity of your magazines? Have you used mag guts? Have you used extended base plates? What are you using currently? And what do you think about that? Because I think that's also another positive offering. If you can get a +2 base plate that extends this grip a little bit more, you know, now you're up to anywhere from 9 to hopefully 10 rounds. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about that. So as always, everyone, stay safe. Have a great night. Enjoy Memorial Day. And don't forget those who have served and honestly paid the ultimate sacrifice to keep us all free. And that's why, everyone, I always say at the end of my videos, freedom is never free, because I truly believe it.